Morning.
Hi.
Hi. I'm Sue from the Yarn Bar, and this is Bonnie today sitting in. Yay, we have a guest. Linda is traveling to Australia. I think some people know that. She had a mishap that some other people might be aware of last night because she posted it on our story, Instagram story, and that was 2.5 hours into their flight from LA to Brisbane, Australia, to visit daughter and family. The flight turned around and came back to Los Angeles. So they were in the air for 5 hours, but they got nowhere. And so she's going to try again this morning.
Good luck, Linda.
Yeah, good luck. We're thinking of you.
Hi, Linda.
Hey, Linda. So anyway, we are really happy to have Bonnie with us. Bonnie also brought a suitcase today, and we'll get into that in a little bit. First, I want to do our YouTube giveaway. So every week for subscribers and commenters on our YouTube channel, which we're still trying to build up, we pick randomly from the people who comment. This week, Shirley Collins, you're the winner of this beautiful pattern to make the braided hand warmers that Bonnie designed, and a skein of osprey, which should be perfect for those hand warmers. Mm-hmm. So yay, Shirley. We'll keep them behind the counter for you, and congrats. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for commenting, all that stuff. But
do it on this video.
Yeah.
You might win next
exactly.
week. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So Bonnie is here today to visit with us about kind of her knitting world. Bonnie is one of a very few number of master knitters in the state of Montana.
Yes, I thought I was the only one, but that's not true. I actually looked it up last night, and there are 6.
Yay!
They may have moved here from elsewhere. I know Janet Szabo lived here when she became a master knitter in 1997, and she's the queen of Aran sweater design, and this was a resource that I used.
Have you met her?
Knitting. No, I have not.
Okay.
But I want to.
Is our light on? Oh, good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Well, I know of a couple of people in Billings who are customers who are in the process of working on their Master Knitter program again. And so Master Knitter, if you don't know, is from the TKGA, which is
the Knitting Guild Association. And it's an educational organization that sponsors the Master Knitting Program, tech editing certification, and excellent resources for knitting. So, the Master Knitting Program is a little intense.
Okay.
I had to carry these in a suitcase, but all of these were things that I had to do for the Master Knitting Program. There are 3 big binders, and my favorite story is from Ann Budd. She came to Wild Pearls when Julia owned Wild Pearls, and I went to her class, and she said, "Bonnie, why are you doing that? That's a lot of work." Even though she, Ann Budd, is a master knitter from 2010.
That's a lot of work.
She's right. Yeah, so my favorite stories about the Master Knitter Program is, this is my final project, Upland's Aran.
Wow.
And stupid me, I made it out of superwash. So you can imagine what it took to get the sweater from wet to dry, to get it to dry into this shape. So that was kind of a disaster. Note to self, if you're going to do heirloom knits, don't do it in superwash.
Okay.
My second fun story is Sue's hat over there. That was her first color work project with my Wunan project. And this was my Fair Isle final project for Fair Isle, and they turned it down.
Oh, so they did?
They wanted something more stodgy with itchy Shetland wool. So this is the stodgy Tammy, and and then
Much more traditional.
much more
Now,
traditional
when you say they turned it down, they didn't accept it for your.
final project, my
Oh.
final Fair Isle project,
Okay.
because it didn't have a crown on it. It just had simple
Oh.
decreases, and it wasn't stodgy enough. So
Okay.
Or maybe traditional. I don't
Yeah.
know. This is my husband's favorite hat. And is our light still on? I just hit that. Okay.
You're good.
It was my first color work project. I loved doing it. It was really fun. So that's pretty interesting that so how does it work? You've got 4 different levels or something of
Three
the
levels.
3 levels. Okay.
yeah, the first level is doing swatches and showing that you can measure gauge and do simple increases and decreases.
Okay.
Level 2, I had to design a vest.
A vest. Okay.
And various things. And then the level 3 culminates in doing an Aran or a Fair Isle sweater, and alternately an Aran or Fair Isle hat. Whatever you choose for the sweater, you have to do the other one
Okay,
for
so
the hat.
So those 2 hats were final attempts for Fair Isle, like a final project.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then this was the final. Okay, gotcha.
However, this is my most downloaded pattern, and this is my other son. So this is my youngest son and my oldest son.
Hi guys.
I'm sure you're watching.
Yeah.
So the Master Knitter program kind of led you into pattern design. Is that
I
correct?
decided I was going to do pattern design, and then I decided to do the Master Knitting program because I didn't have any credentials to design anything.
Oh, okay.
So it was.
All right.
It's a self-learning thing. so-
Okay. So this is Bonnie's binder of pattern designs. It's super impressive because it really hasn't been that long, I don't think, from the whole like the
2015.
whole process. Yeah, not even 10
2015.
years. Okay, wow. Yeah, it is impressive. And
Thank you.
I knew it was a lot of work.
And it took how long? Did you just say that?
She started in 2015.
I finished the Master Knitting program in 15 and started it in 13.
Oh,
And
2
so-
years. Okay, wow. And you were working full time
Yes.
and okay.
Well, sort of full time.
Well, but
I
you
had
were
17 weeks off a year, so most people wouldn't call that full time.
Well, I know that one of our
My husband included.
You can get a job with that vacation.
there you go.
Highly recommend.
Yeah, that's nice. Okay, that's great. So we put out a call for some viewers to ask some questions of Bonnie, and we've got a few to go through. We talked a little bit about what it takes to become a master knitter. I think probably a lot of self-determination. There's like, so you sent things off to always the same people, or is there a committee?
You have a co-chair, and
Okay.
At every level you have a co-chair. And the first book I submitted, I had to do 2/3 of it over.
Oh wow.
2/3.
So the first binder you
the
submitted.
first binder.
Okay,
yeah.
wow.
So
Level 1.
I got the hang of it, what they really wanted, and that it had to be perfect before I sent it in, and so
And
it
okay,
got
so
easier
they
as I went along.
Oh, did it? Okay. Probably they weed people out, I'm guessing.
Yes.
And then yeah. Okay, cool. Was it always the same person who was assessing your work?
No.
Or same people?
There was a committee, and then there was a co-chair. So
I see.
at least 4 people looked at all your work.
All right. Nice. Okay, so then one of our questions was, what is the one knitting trick you learned that still blows your mind and you wish everyone knew?
I taught it to myself. It wasn't part of the Master Knitting program, but when I'm doing sleeve decreases, instead of knit 2, SSK, knit to the last 4 stitches, knit 2 together, knit 2, slip marker, I like to have my decreases visually lined up. So I like to start the decreases before the marker and end them after the marker instead of as the patterns are always written.
Okay.
So, and I always, if the designer hasn't done it, I always like the increases and decreases mirrored. So if they say increase, make 1, and then at the other end, which should be mirrored, and they say make one, I always do make one right on one side and make one left, even though the designer doesn't
May
tell me
not
to
say
do
that. Okay.
Same with lifted increases. I mirror them.
Okay.
What about decreases?
Same thing.
What should it be before the marker, and what should it be after the marker? Or does it
SSK,
matter?
knit two together, match. They're constructed the same way, and they match. Those are mirrored or paired decreases. There's other paired decreases that I never use, SKP and KSP, but that's pretty academic and nobody uses those in patterns that I can tell.
It's in the binder though, I bet.
It's in the binder. I had to do those decreases.
All right. Let's see. What's your favorite cast on and bind off?
Ta-da!
Ooh,
Ashley's wearing it today. Andrea Mowry's weekender sweater is a perfect example of tubular cast on and tubular bind off to match. It's one of the few things that you can perfectly match on your sweaters, and it just is so nice rolling over the edge on both sides. I love this.
It is pretty.
When you started on a large cast on number on a circular needle, sorry, people might not be able to hear me. How do you have a tip for it not getting twisted?
It's very hard, and it's very hard to stay on track. It's a cast on that I have to do in a closet. I can't. I mean, this is complicated.
Okay.
And this is level 3 of the Master Knitting Program.
Oh, well, then I don't feel bad for watching Netflix and trying to do a tubular cast
and not be able to do it.
Don't do it.
We had a participant in Wednesday night knitting who tried to do a tubular during class, and she had to go home and do it in the closet. So
in the closet.
Oh, wow. Okay, that makes me feel so much better.
Find a good closet for your tubular cast on.
And don't take your wine.
No wine.
No wine.
Netflix.
Funny. Okay. The best way to avoid a hole in a sweater's underarm?
Hard to do. I can't do it. I just carefully and skillfully sew it together so it doesn't
at the
show.
end.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And the sign of a good pattern. As a pattern writer, a tech editor, you probably have some thoughts on that.
Oh, yes. The most important thing about a quality pattern is it's tech edited. I had the opportunity of working with Sharon Levering, who teaches the tech editing certification course with TKGA, and she was my patterns editor for most of my knitting knit design career. And if you have somebody of that quality doing your tech editing, the testing is really secondary, because the tech editor is going to catch all the mistakes, and if you knit the pattern according to the directions with the gauge stated, you are going to come out with a piece that is the size and appearance that the pattern is. So number one, it's got to be a great tech editor. Number two, you should test it. The most important thing I got out of testing was to figure out the amount of yarn actually used. And so that's really important. Everything should have a schematic with multiple
so the picture at the back of the pattern
with all the measurements. There should be sleeve measurements, how big the neck opening is, the length from the underarm, what the bust is, what the waist is, what the hip is. And it's much easier to pick out an appropriate pattern if you have all those things. You have to knit a gauge swatch. We had a lady the other night in Wednesday night group that she had 3 different sizes because she had never knit a gauge swatch, and she kept downsizing and downsizing, but she knit a whole sweater as her swatch. So now she's doing a swatch first. So
swatching is good.
Yeah. Let's see. Instructions are clear. Yeah, those are the basic things. But schematic is really important, and having an accurate gauge is really important.
So if you look at older patterns, when I look at them, and if you pick up an old magazine or my great grandmother's things, they're so short. The print is small and everything too, and there's not a lot of pictures. But people have been knitting forever with those. So was there just a lot of intuitive, or were those good patterns? And what's changed? Because I think now, some of these current really trendy designers or whatever, you pick them up and first of all, the fonts, they you print them out and they're 12 pages long. But you're still making a sweater that, I've picked up little booklets and they're 2 pages of instructions.
They're mostly stockinette.
Okay.
They're not going to be the texture. They're not going to be Andrew Mowry's, treatment at the shoulders on the weekender. They're not going to be, they're not going to have, fillers and 10 different cables and they're just, patterns today are more complicated.
Okay. So back in the day, maybe somebody picked up a pattern and if they chose to, could embellish on their own, added some lace work or whatever. Okay. All right. Good to know.
Let's talk about Bonnie's sweater that she's wearing. I'd like to highlight that one. And we have it right here if you want to hold it up as well.
This is Chilam. This is my second most downloaded pattern on Ravelry.
So
There's
pretty.
Over, I think, over 700 downloads.
So Bonnie, she's kind of retired from official pattern designing, and a lot of her patterns now are free on Ravelry.
All of them are free,
All of them are.
Except the ones that I took off from anybody having access to. Some minor, minor ones.
Yeah. So this one's available. It's
this is
beautiful.
Chilam. This is made out of Cumbria.
It's so cute.
And it has a back slit.
It's pretty.
To match the back slit on my my skirt.
And little arm detail. It's a beautiful pattern.
Don't we have a great picture? Did you use Alice as a
Yes,
model for
Alice.
this?
Alice is the
Such
model.
a good picture of her.
And Carrie Baker
Carrie's
is Phantom Head. So
that's a pretty one too. This is an Aran weight. This is worsted weight. Nice, really cute sweaters.
So these patterns are now free on Ravelry, so help yourself to as many patterns as you want and buy your yarn at the yarn bar.
There you go.
Yay.
And you can still join the Toasties.
Of course.
And knit a sweater by January
21st.
Yep. And enter your sweater, and you might want a gift card in our Toasty.
If you haven't decided on your sweater, those are great options.
Very good options.
And then this is not the most popular, not the most downloaded pattern, but I highly recommend this one. It's a really cute hat.
I'm gonna have that link in the show notes as well.
I want to redo this one. It's nice. And then this one,
This is pretty simple.
most popular.
Most popular of my patterns online.
It's
Chilam
nice.
is the second most popular.
I like how you've got everything sized. Some hat patterns you find, they're not sized. I think that is a good thing. Okay, do we have time for the last one?
We have 2 minutes.
Oh, wait. I was going to ask too. So what are you doing now for your creative self? Because you're not designing knitwear patterns anymore.
Well, I'm not designing knitwear patterns because I have progressive arthritis and subluxation of my thumb. So my thumb hurts if I use anything bigger than, an Aran weight. Even an Aran weight yarn hurts. So I'm pushing fabric through a sewing machine, and it's much easier on my hands.
What about the process of cutting out fabric and stuff? Not so bad with arthritis?
This hand is pretty good.
Okay.
So far.
Okay. All right. So good. Good.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Bonnie. Thank you so much.
It was fun.
Yes, it is fun, isn't it?
Down memory lane.
Yeah, I know. I know. It's great. Thank you.
All right. We'll
Thanks
see
for
you guys
watching.
next
Bye-bye.
week with another guest.
All right. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.